So one of the things I just want to address off rip is just the whole idea of middle class trauma. Like, it's something that's simultaneously hilarious to me, but also very real, because that just sums up why I went to therapy. I am just the middle class trauma poster child. I had extraordinarily loving parents. I'm from a nuclear family, just like mum, dad. I have an older brother. And yeah, like, dad earned good money. Mum, for the early part of my life, was stay-at-home mum, homemaker, house caretaker, you know. But then also started working part-time, so it was always like financially sweet. I didn't always feel that way, but yeah, in hindsight, I was always financially sweet. Like, that's probably, so for example, like, one of the issues, I've always felt really insecure financially, no matter how much money I've earned. And I learned that that was probably like one of the big, I say this in the most loving way, but yeah, one of the completely human errors that my parents made was, like, they argued about money in front of me a few too many times, and that convinced my little neurodivergent brain that we weren't financially secure. So, like, one of the things that is so traumatic for me is I had the safest, most loving childhood, but I don't think I actually felt like I experienced that. But yeah, one of the attitudes that stops people from leveling up and just becoming better people, both to themselves and for the people around them, is just this idea that, oh no, I've had it easy, I don't have anything to go to therapy about. And what I will say is, the worst thing to happen to you is the worst thing to happen to you. So I always got told I was sensitive, and that is true, and that's something I'm proud of now. But yeah, I thought that I was overly sensitive because I didn't acknowledge it as trauma necessarily, but like, I felt like I had tough things happen to me. But then, like, compared to what I saw other people going through, I was like, why is this affecting me so much when comparatively what I'm dealing with is nothing compared to, like, you know, a kid whose country is getting bombed or living on the streets, or who doesn't have extremely loving parents. I have so many explicit memories of when I was younger, mum and dad just grabbing my face essentially and being like, you know, you can do anything, like, you can do or be anything you want to be. No one ever told me that. It's so important to me that you know that. Obviously, then when I dropped out of uni to try and become a rock star, that did rattle them a little bit, and that was a point of contention. But I'm gonna get into this paddle out, sorry. They assure me that there's no crocodiles here, but God, it feels crocky. And this is what happens when you're afraid of deep water. You paddle too close to the rocks and get fucking dry docked. So there's the iconic eBay rocks right at the end section. Every wave here has the spiciest end section. It's all part of the fun though, until you smash into it, right? Like, if you don't smash into it, you're like, yeah, I love that the rocks are there. It makes me feel like a bad man. Let's get a depth check on this reef. Oh yeah, I've got water on it, sick. Damn, it's a fast wave. Yeah, basically, growing up, part of me middle class trauma is the whole front part of my life, everyone was telling me how smart and talented I was and how I could be anything. And then as soon as I got out of high school, that pretty much wrapped up. And I just started to feel like a failure. I mean, I was failing, just objectively. And I went through a period of intense depression, deeply insecure person, and yeah, just felt like I was living below my potential. Well, yeah, let me just get into the therapy part. So I'll tell you how I got to therapy. Once my online business grew in COVID, it just had reached a point where I did want to go for therapy, and I had heaps of money to pay for a really good therapist. Yeah, what pushed me over the edge was actually, I went there for professional development. I went there for imposter syndrome. That's what I said anyway. Oh! shit. Holy fuck, that was fast. Alright, so I booked into this therapist called Alona. And then she was like, why are you here? And I said, I feel like in some ways I'm amazing, and in other ways I'm really shit. And then I burst out into tears, and she laughed. Which I think this is why you got to find the therapist that can read you properly, because that was the reaction that I wanted. Like, I didn't want someone to feel sorry for me. And you'll notice I put comedian on my Instagram page. Like, so yeah, she didn't laugh at like crazy laugh. It was just like a chuckle. And I immediately felt safe around her. It was a great read on her part. And so then she, like, I did tell her a little bit more of my life story, but then one of the first concepts she introduced me to was the grandiosity and shame continuum, or that they're two sides of the same coin. Oh, gosh. Holy shit, it's pumping. And that just resonated with me so much. So like, grandiosity and shame is just this pendulum trap that people get caught in. A lot of people like me, I know there's a lot of you out there where like, yeah, you feel like you could be a talented person, but then you're either really neurodivergent, you got some stuff holding you back, and it's like, to escape this deep shame. Like, shame is such a powerful shaper of behavior. But then to escape these shame spirals, you set these hyper ambitious goals that are these huge dopamine spikes, and you self-aggrandize. But then, because you're just shooting for the moon all the time, and then kind of self-sabotaging or just being unrealistic, then you shame spiral. And so, yeah, hopefully, I'm sure some of you are like nodding your head right now, being like, yeah, grandiosity and shame. It should be the title of my autobiography. Oh, not so much these days, because I went to therapy. One of the ways you get out of the grandiosity and shame pendulum is just to, I mean, take a moment to acknowledge it, man. It's just acknowledging it and becoming aware of it. Oh, it's making me emotional thinking. I wish I could go back to young Angus, which is something that, yeah, so I haven't thought about this stuff in a while, so let me just try to organize my thoughts so I don't jump around too much. So obviously grandiosity and shame, so like thinking about some small, smart, achievable goals. But the other thing that I struggled with was having compassion, not just for others, but mostly myself. Well, it's all like you project yourself onto other people, right? If you struggle to have compassion for yourself, you'll struggle to have compassion for other people as well. One of the ways that Alona helped me through that, she was like, you know, because I was like, I just feel like I'm such a failure and such a piece of shit in so many ways with so much potential. She was like, well, if you went back and met your younger self, like, would he think you're a cool guy? Yeah, and more tears. Because yeah, like I thought about young Angus and how proud he would have been. And how much I wish I could just go back and hug him. And just be like, you're doing so good, man. Sorry. Cheers. I hope no one else heard that. So yeah, like the inner child stuff, like I used to make a lot of fun of it, but if you struggle to have compassion for yourself because you've had an easy life, like me, because that's the thing, like life's tough, man. Like it doesn't matter. Even the easiest life has really tough moments. Like that's what you have to accept. And when you're kinder to yourself, then you have more energy to be kinder to other people. Whereas when you're always abusing yourself and you're your biggest bully, your compassion for others, you just don't have the energy for it. a bit too early to the air section there. So Alona specialized in like family stuff. Her average client was like legitimately abused kids. That's also why I felt like I was the fun part of Alona's day. I know there's this big joke about always trying to be your therapist's favorite. And I'm not saying I was her favorite, because I'm sure she had so much really meaningful work with a lot harder cases than me. But yeah, I felt like I was that client for her that was like, she knew exactly how to help me. And it was just a bit of a fun sesh, bit of a good yap for her. I can make her laugh. Like, I'm sure she couldn't laugh at the kids when they were like, I don't want to joke about that stuff, yeah. Once we got over my grandiosity and shame stuff, or like at least started to address it, the next thing that we worked on was anxiety. So anxiety is something that has just shaped my life as well. Not as much as, oh no, maybe more than grandiosity and shame. I just have had like general anxiety for a lot of my life, which I couldn't admit to myself. Like the moment I accepted I had anxiety was one day I was just chilling in my apartment, just feeling super stressed as usual. And I don't know what made me do it, but I just took a moment to breathe and I said out loud, you're safe. And there's nothing bad happening to you. You're safe, you're in your own apartment. And just saying that out loud instantly brought me relief. And I was like, wow, I'm an insane person. Not that, I'm just an anxious person. Like, I was like, wow, if that was so profound, just telling myself I'm safe, that was so impactful, I must have some level of anxiety. But like, so one of the reasons why I never addressed my anxiety, or a lot of this stuff, is like, I've just felt like I had so many logical reasons to feel that way, because I was stuffing my life up and I wasn't fulfilling my potential. And I was like, I feel like when I start to fulfill my potential, I'll be less anxious. But if anything, I got more anxious that everything I'd worked towards would be taken away from me in the snap of a finger. And no one, I would express this to other people and no one would validate me. They'd be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why would it just go away? But Alona was like, it could absolutely go away in a second. That's why we express gratitude. Because if you're grateful for it, like, that's all you can do. Just be grateful for the good stuff that is happening. Because that was it. Like, I was just worried that I would take it for granted and then it would all go away. So, and that is why I'm such an advocate for expressing gratitude and gratitude lists. Any form of gratitude, I think, is so powerful. Like, there are people who have nothing that are so grateful, and there's people that have everything that are so ungrateful, and it's the people that are more grateful that are happier. That's why I put so much effort into it, to be a more grateful person. I treat it like a muscle and a skill, because it is. I would have gone harder on that one, I just was scared of the rock. So yeah, it's only really like recently that I've got into gratitude lists, but even just taking moments to meditate on things that I'm grateful for was like how I initially got into it. And just the theme of my therapy and personal development and mental health experience, like, I used to make so much fun of people for doing their little gratitude list. I was like, what do you mean? Like, writing down, like, you're grateful to have a roof over your head, you're grateful for your family, you're grateful, because that's what you find out. You're like, once you start, if you actually take it seriously, you won't be able to stop writing down things that you're grateful for, to the point now where, like, my gratitude list would be too long. And that's what brought me to tears initially when I started writing them. It was like, my hand got sore. Anyway, But yeah, so now to push myself, once something's been written down on my gratitude list, I'm not allowed to write it down again, or at least in the same way. I have to think of a new way that I'm grateful for that thing. So I can't just write down like family every day or roof over my head. There has to be something like specifically different about it, deepening that gratitude, or thinking of something new to be grateful for. Well, it's not even that, it's like realizing how grateful I am for these things subconsciously and like bringing it to the front of the mind instantly. It just, that's why I like doing it at the start of the day. It sets the tone for the day so well. Holy fuck, I've never had race like this in my fucking life, man. So the effect of those things that I just mentioned on my life has been profound. I have been so much a happier and more successful person since that, and more importantly, I've been better for everyone else in my life. So you have to do it for you, but ultimately the biggest impact will be on the ones around you. So that's why you should do it for you, so you can do it for everyone else. Because yeah, like I'm sure you feel bad about, maybe you feel like you suck to be around sometimes, and maybe there's some truth to that. But don't beat yourself up over it, just go to therapy. Here we go! Oh my god, it's pumping. Just gotta make a big one. Oh. What's better, functional training versus yoga? Battle of the fitness.
I reckon. I just think you've got to also do a little bit of fucking you do anyway. When you get to my age, you've got to do weights as well.
100%, yes.
Because you've got to have that movement, but I've got a mate who just does yoga, right? And he's over flexible.
Bit of everything.
So I try and do a bit of both. You got to do a little of that. I've sort of fucking got into that. Doing this, so I've been fucking a bit lazy back in this day. I've been doing that CrossFit for a few years now.
Yeah, fuck it, yeah. CrossFit's sick, man.
I find it good for me because
It's for the...
Also, it's in a community. Yeah.
It's the biggest thing.
I can't walk. Two things I hate: mirrors in gyms.
Yeah.
CrossFit doesn't have mirrors.
Yeah.
And also, I like to do things with other people.
Push yourself.
Gotta get the boys fired up.
If I go into a gym by myself, I walk out about 2 minutes later, I go forward. There's no camera or
Go, go, go! I didn't commit. Yeah. Oh, nearly. Oh, jeez. You want this one? That's the end of this. That's the end of that surf. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I promise I will get out some S&C content for surfing in the next week. My brother.